Hi friends, good evening. So hope you're able to see my screen.
Yes, please.
Yeah. So this is a demo class. So in this one, we will try to understand a bit about data analytics and what is big data. So we will try to understand the legacy of big data analytics and how it is actually the idea is originated at Google and what is the Google contribution towards big data analytics. And we'll also discuss briefly on when Hadoop came into picture and what actually have motivated Hadoop, and then we will discuss about Hadoop ecosystem components, and we will also discuss briefly on Spark, and when compared to Hadoop, what is Spark and what are the advantages of using Spark, and we'll also discuss about what we are going to cover in our course. So, what is big data? So, as the name implies, this is, the magnitude of the data. Like, it is in the if the data is in the size of. By the way, unmute. Vamsi, are you recording it?
Yes, Tony.
Okay, sorry. So, okay. So, as the name implies, the data is huge. So when I say huge, it is not in the data in the size of gigabytes, probably in the magnitude of terabytes, petabytes, and exabytes. So if we have data of that much size, what is the problem? So obviously, if you want to analyze that data, so what is the problem that we are currently facing? So you might ask, like, there are so many systems which we are using to process the data. So one famous example is the current databases. Why can't we use those machines, those systems to process this data? So what are the problems with those? We'll come to it. And even before that, so what are the applications which are actually generating this much of data? So you all know, like, even if you take Facebook, if you take Twitter or LinkedIn or Instagram, any of the well-known portals or applications, they can generate huge magnitudes of data. And if you have that much of data at hand, you wanted to get some mileage out of it. You wanted to analyze some trends. Okay, so in that sense, you may want to process that data to get to know some information. So then the need will arise, like, what are the best systems those can efficiently process and analyze and get the results for you. If you see, some of these applications can generate structured data, maybe, and some of them might not be generating some structured data. It may be very unstructured. So do we have any system in place which can hold or process unstructured data? So all the database systems, those require to have structured data. They can only process structured data. And we all know, like, these are all proprietary softwares. If you want to buy Oracle license or MS SQL license or DB2 license, we know how much we have to pay. Like, if the data is growing more, obviously you would end up paying a lot of money actually. So, and first thing, you have to end up spending a lot of money, and second thing, they can't be useful to process unstructured data. And third thing, the velocity with which the data is out of these applications might not be taken well by these traditional RDBMS systems. So we may need some frameworks which can efficiently take this data and process this data to get some predictions or some heuristics out of it. So that is about big data, and that is about the necessity of requiring a sophisticated frameworks to process this big data. So let us try to understand, like, how we used to process the data 20 years back. So we used to have a single server, and it used to have some resources. What do I mean? So it would be having, let us say, for example, assume that it is having 16 GB RAM and 100 GB of, or maybe for simplicity, let's say 500 GB of disk attached to it. And if you have some data to be processed by that server, obviously you will write some program, maybe in whatever the language